It's May 12th, 2023. EU likely not to block the deal. Zelda ad is bringing adults to tears. Switch 2 is coming. And then we got PlayStation Showcase news. If you like our carpool gaming content, please leave us a like or subscribe. I'm Court Lalonde.
And I'm Seth Sturgill.
Well, our first story has to do with Xbox. The CMA may not like the deal, but the EU seems to have no issues, according to analysts. According to Reuters, the EU plans to clear the $69 billion Activision deal with Microsoft. The report claims we could get the news on the 15th of May. This comes weeks after the CMA blocked the deal, citing cloud gaming as the reason. Honestly, cloud gaming at this point is just not this thing that we all do as gamers. And I truly don't get it. I literally been doing research about cloud gaming, and Microsoft doesn't even seem to think it's this thing. We all keep talking about it, but the infrastructure's just not there yet.
Yeah, cloud gaming's not there yet. It's just not. I do think I think it has its place in the future. But yeah, I mean, look, the deal's going to go through. Sounds like we're going to be hearing more about it very soon. And it's interesting that the EU is kind of just like, well, the CMA might have had an issue with it, but we don't. So
yeah, it's very curious to see who has an issue, who doesn't have an issue. And at this point, I almost don't care.
Yeah,
I just want it to go away and we can just start talking about video games again.
Yeah. Same. Well, Court, let's talk a little Nintendo this week. Nintendo selling even more consoles. Sales numbers for the Zelda-themed OLED have come in from the UK. Switch sales were up 26% in the UK compared to those in March and 30% up year over year. Worldwide sales are down 22%, but since they've sold over 125.6 million units since launch, Court, I think they're going to be okay. Keep in mind, This is without a single price drop the entire time. And I mean, Tears of the Kingdom is probably going to be the biggest game of the year. The reviews have just come out at the time of this recording, and they are crazy. So this is going to be a massive game, going to continue to move units for Nintendo. According to GfK figures in the UK, the PS5 was the top selling console over the Switch, and Jedi Survivor was the top selling game. I expect Zelda is going to be dominating the numbers for May, though.
Yeah, we at time of the recording, the reviews have just dropped, so we might as well just add it to this story.
Oh my gosh.
Tears of the Kingdom, it is destroying. It is the most 10s and 5 out of 5s I think I've ever seen since maybe Uncharted 3 or The Last of Us. It's crazy. I am not going to be playing this game, but I was saying to Seth before the pre-show here, when a Nintendo game does well, we all do well. We're going to be talking about a story later on that has a lot to do with why Nintendo speaks to so many different gamers. I grew up on Nintendo. So many generations, their first console is a Nintendo. So when a game like Zelda does well, it's great for video games.
Yeah. Tears of the Kingdom feels like a real, sort of rallying moment for Nintendo fans. Kind of the last big hurrah of the Nintendo Switch. Kind of the last huge, massive game before we get whatever the new hardware is on the horizon. And it's great that it's come out so well, that the reviews are so good. We're going to have a ton of content on Carpool Gaming about this game. I mean, we're going to be talking about this game for a long time to come. Do not worry, folks.
So, sticking with Nintendo, a new Nintendo ad is bringing grown adults to tears and winning over social media worldwide. It depicts a man, let's say in his 40s, riding on the bus home from work, looking out on a dark landscape out of the window. He goes home to play Tears of the Kingdom and struggles at first to build a raft. He has trouble, keeps falling in the water. He then figures it out and then keeps playing, and then you see him flying through the air. You then see the man playing the game on the bus again, on his way to work, it seems, and then he looks out the window and it's a bright sky. I feel like this speaks a lot to video games, what it does to one's mental health, and why it's seeing so much widespread fanfare. Video games, well, for me, I guess, when I was growing up, got a lot of negative context put behind it, and it seems to have switched, and I still think a lot of it has to do with the lockdown and COVID and such, because a lot more people got back into gaming. But Nintendo always brings that warm, cozy feeling to a lot of us, especially myself in my 40s. Nintendo is that thing that is a comfort zone. So this commercial, it spoke to me. And I well done, Nintendo, on this one.
Yeah, I loved it too. There are a lot of people, like, people are either calling it like cringy or whatever, or people who, people who relate to it. I certainly do too. I mean, anybody who has ever had a video game help them get through a tough time in their life, I think can relate to this commercial. And like you said, Nintendo franchises like Zelda have been there with me my entire life. So it was impossible to not relate to this commercial. It's a great one. I loved it. But in our next story, Court, Hollow Knight Silksong has been delayed. Posted on Twitter by Matthew Griffin, who's the head of marketing and publishing for the game at Team Cherry, said, quote, "Hey gang, just a quick update about Silksong. We had planned to release in the first half of 2023, but development is still continuing. We're excited about how the game is shaping up and it's gotten quite big, so we want to take the time to make the game as good as we can. Expect more details from us once we get closer to release," end quote. Now, Court, this game was initially supposed to come in the first half of 2023. At the last Xbox showcase, they revealed it there and said it's coming before the next one, within the next 12 months, and it has been delayed, an indefinite delay as well. We don't have any new kind of point of order, but I hope it's still this year because it's in my fantasy leagues.
I don't think it is, but I commend them for doing so, because I'm at the point, and I think we actually talked about this in the pre-show as well. I am tired of games coming out a buggy mess. Delay your game. Do what Nintendo does besides Pokemon. Release the game when it's ready.
Yeah.
Please stop bringing out games that are not ready. Make it okay to delay a video game.
And can I just
Honestly,
say too,
don't announce them so dang early. Like, come
that's
on,
true.
man.
It's true, yeah. And Silksong this game in particular has restructured itself. It was originally going to be DLC for Hollow Knight. Now it's like a whole new game. So, and another thing I'll say too, I think even if the game was ready to go, I think they were smart to delay it out of this time frame. Dude, like Zelda dropping, Diablo 4 just around the corner, Street Fighter, like Final Fantasy 16, Spider-Man's coming. We have all in the next few months. Gaming is insane. They were smart to delay this regardless of how far along it is.
Well, sort of Nintendo news, but as reported by Jeffrey Russo from GameIndustry.biz, Private Division and Game Freak have teamed up for a new IP, Project Bloom. Now, from what I saw, they just showed sort of like an image, which is probably up on the screen while I'm talking, that definitely does not look like a Pokemon game. And I'm very, very curious to see what we get out of here. We've got Take-Two, which, is got a pretty decent track record. And then we've got Game Freak, who's also got a pretty decent track record, making a new IP. What's your thoughts, Steph?
Yeah, they Game Freak does this initiative, and people should know Game Freak, despite the fact that they make Pokemon, not owned by Nintendo. Game Freak is an independent entity. So they have this thing internally, I think, called like Gear Project, which is basically somebody who works at Game Freak can pitch a game, and if the pitch goes through to the higher ups, they will create like its own thing. So that's how you got Pocket Card Jockey, Harmo Knight on the 3DS, and that's how you got Little Town Hero as well. So Game Freak does this actually quite regularly, and this is just the new version of that. This seems like it's going to be more like realistic than their previous games, less cartoony, like giving me some like Ghosts of Tsushima vibes a little bit. So
I got some, I got some, dare I say, MMO vibes, because it just the way it looks like we're getting something of that ilk, but it looked very fantasy.
Yeah, for sure. I'm definitely interested to see what's coming here. The little concept art we got was certainly intriguing. And we don't know if it's coming to Nintendo Switch, but Court, maybe it's coming to Switch 2, because we have maybe
honestly. Can we back up to how good of a segue that was? Well done, Steph. Well done.
Thank you. Let's talk a little bit about Switch 2, because during an earnings call, Nintendo said that no new hardware is coming this year. Nintendo President Shintaro Furukawa told investors on a call on Tuesday that no new Switch or revised versions like the Switch Lite and OLED model were factored into the 2023 fiscal outlook. This led to rampant speculation online. We might finally get a Switch 2 in 2024. The Switch Switch sales are finally kind of starting to decline in some areas. And even though game sales were high, they officially crossed 1 billion software units sold, which is crazy. Hardware is certainly kind of plateauing a little bit. And to me, and I mentioned this earlier, but they've sold, it's already like the 3rd best-selling piece of video game hardware of all time. And they've done that without a single price cut. So for me, I'm like, they're probably just going to give it a price cut this holiday, let them limp along and survive a little bit longer. And then early next year and the next financial quarter, which starts at the end of March, drop some kind of bump, some kind of hardware bump, Switch Pro, Switch 2, whatever it is. Everybody's going to buy that too. And then you're going to push them along to cross all those milestones. So.
Nintendo's smart. They have waited and waited and waited. And I would probably estimate and guessing that they're way farther along on a Switch Pro or a Switch 2 than we even can imagine. Like, yeah. I'm guessing people have them in their hands already. But Nintendo is so secretive, so smart. I even look at these sales numbers. The new Switch Sports, 9 million units sold. That's crazy to me. Mario Kart, 8.1 million. They've been rolling on the backs of games that were from a console that wasn't any good.
Yeah.
And now they're about to put out, or they have put out, as the time of this video, the biggest game probably for this console.
Yeah.
Like, it's crazy to me how much Nintendo can sell units, give 0 discount besides the voucher thing, and people continue to buy it. And I think you're 100% right. They put out a Switch Pro, people will line up just like they did with the OLED.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's going to happen. Y'all just take that to the bank. Next spring, this time next year, we'll be on a Switch Pro. We will.
Well, this game won't be on a Switch Pro, but it could be on a jetpack. So the ESRB rating for Starfield has been revealed, and it's M for mature due to drugs, in-game purchases, and jetpack sex. Now, you didn't hear me wrong. I put in jetpack sex. Now, IGN is the only one that talks about the jetpack sex, but I just be remiss if we didn't talk about, jetpack sex. The ESRB, or Entertainment Software Rating Board, has given Starfield an M for mature 17+ for blood-strong language, suggestive themes, use of drugs, and violence. Many of these classifications are pretty standard for an M-rated game, but the rating summary is filled with some very interesting details. The game contains some suggestive material in dialogue, and after sharing a bed with characters, example, life is a sexually transmitted disease that hinders 100% fatal. Honestly, I'm all forgetting a little while, but next time let's try it without the jetpacks. Now, see, that's the crazy part. The jetpack sex again. Talk about seeing stars. That was amazing. This is what a summary was reading. This is in the IGN article. You will have the link down below. But to me, this means we've got a Bethesda game that they're like, hey, you thought crazy stuff used to happen in Mass Effect? Well, guess what? We have more crazier sex scenes than Mass Effect has ever had. I'm very intrigued by this game. I'm really hoping that Xbox hits a home run with this game. I'm excited to play this game. And honestly, I can't wait to see the videos because everybody's going to try this. The fact that IGN even put jetpack sex in there, people are going to try and do it.
It's just that's just a funny concept, even if it's just in dialogue. Like, to be honest, we've seen so little of Starfield. Even just hearing these kind of like funny bits of dialogue gives me more hope for the game than I feel like I've ever had. I was like, at least there's some fun dorky stuff in here like this. Like that gives me hope.
What are you supposed to do right before you are you supposed to get it, check to see if your partner that you're going to have sex with has a disease? Because if you don't, you're going to die. Like, that's even better. Like, think how many clips we're going to see of someone having sex in the video game and then their character like starts deteriorating and dying because of the sex they had.
Who knows, man? Who knows what's going to happen, but I am intrigued to say the least. We'll see what happens. In our next story, though, Court, Jeff Grubb wrote on Monday that he believes the PlayStation event could take place the week of May 25th. So the speculation kind of caught fire this week. A lot of people in the know have sort of corroborated this, saying that they've been hearing the same. Sony is clearly going to do some kind of showcase around Summer Game Fest, but now we kind of know the date, or at least kind of the area we should be looking for. There's a lot of speculation going around on like what they're going to show. Of course, it sounds like they're going to be doing a Metal Gear Solid 3 remake. A lot of Konami kind of rumors specifically. And I know you guys were talking about this on the PlayStation Drive recently, so sounds exciting, man. It should be happening pretty soon.
Yeah, like even today, more insiders are dropping like, here's exactly what's going to come. And I've seen the list, and as much as I would love to be like, that looks amazing, that's what the list is going to be. I'm still not in the, hey, this is what the list is. I 100% feel when Jeff Grubb puts out his list and he's got like all these different dates.
Right.
Yes, PlayStation is doing a showcase. There's no way PlayStation goes the rest of the summer without doing a showcase. We know that they're going to be doing some sort of Spider-Man 2 only thing, but that's not going to come until August. But they need to do a little bit of blowout, show us Ghost 2 or show us Wolverine or show us KOTOR, show us something. Final Fantasy 16, they've got to show us more, and they haven't done it in a long time. I do have a funny feeling, though, that PlayStation is going to come out guns a-blazing. Like, they are going to give us a surprise, and that's it almost brings back the hype of E3. Like, that's what gets me. And I would love to know what everybody else thinks in the comments. What do you think PlayStation is going to show? Because I really think they're going to blow the doors off.
I hope so, man. I hope so. Let us know for sure. The Metal Gear 3 remake thing, that is hype. Let's see that. Seriously. I hope that's real.
Even the Castlevania, like everything I keep hearing, Silent Hill, all that kind of
Konami
stuff. It's just like, okay. And then you have all these developers like Sony Ben and such that we haven't heard from in a really long time and know what they're working on. And then we've got those always online games that we know that are coming, like the 10 of them. Like, there's a lot Sony can do here. What about if they show us, like, they put Uncharted in a commercial? Yeah. Like, as much as people don't like, that's Drake's daughter in a commercial.
Yeah, it is.
Like, it's there. So are we getting an Uncharted game? Like, there's so much
Factions
to show
multiplayer, like Last of Us multiplayer got to be coming, right? So
yeah, well, man, and even Wolverine, all we got was him sitting at the table. Like, they could technically, I guess, not put Wolverine in the showcase and then wait for Comic-Con, because that's something PlayStation can do, but we'll see. But that was another episode of Carpo Weekly. We hope you found the information informative, and please leave us a comment and give us a like if you think we deserve it.
Absolutely. We'll see you next time, guys.